the meat industry and how corrupt it is. So it's all around Noah coming in and telling us what we need to be doing. And he's channeling via God kind of thing, but he's also channeling from the ascended masters. And what he's telling us is that we've got to go back and reverse everything that's been done, because what happened during the time of the rescued animals and sailing, something happened in the time shift, and it allowed the corruption to come in, and the meat eating and all the hunting and all the
Mhm.
aggressiveness around it. And he didn't know that was happening because he was in the middle of nowhere floating around at sea with all the animals. And so when he came back to the rescue point, it kind of changed. They were like living in
Mhm.
a garden of Eden of their own, all at
Yeah.
peace and everything. And then hunters came, and this is what happened. It changed why he was away. There was a time shift of corruption.
Mhm.
So we've got to go back and adjust that. He said the meat industry is coming to a halt. It is going to be exposed and it is coming to an end. It's just a matter of the consciousness of the world waking up to it. And with the activation today, one of the last lines is that we ask that the meat eaters that are still about, their consciousness wakes up and they understand what they've been doing, that they will free the animals, and that we're asking them to lose the want and need and taste so that it'll be removed from earth and from them. So
Right.
taste, because they've put, as Sharon said, with the butter and other ingredients that are supposed to be natural, they're putting additives in it to make you addicted to it. And so there's that addiction. Oh, I've got to have my meat tonight with my three vegetables or whatever. That is not only programming, it's an addiction to the meat. So there's been quite a bit going on in that space.
Mhm.
Um, so Noah's message: the killing needs to stop now. No more killing. And he's really adamant about it. He said there's going to be no more killing. He's like drawing the line in the sand and saying, this is the time it's going to stop, of innocent animals and humans, godmans, all waste is being placed into the food chain. So any waste that there is out there, animal waste, godman, human waste, is all going back into the food chain. And you can see
Mhm.
that in some of the cold meats, like, I don't know, what is there, salami and things like that. It just doesn't look like it used to look, very organic. It's not now. It's all got bits of jelly and fat stuff in it, and that it's just horrible. Uh, he said what it's done is it's been creating cravings and addictions to the meat, creating cannibalism. That's what they wanted us to be.
Mhm.
All animal hunting must stop, and the animals must all stop hunting each other. And I went,
Mhm.
oh, thank goodness for that, because Marla is getting a bad reputation in the neighborhood as a killer cat. She keeps getting birds. They must stop hunting each other, just like we
Mhm.
must stop hunting animals, or animals hunting us. All large farming, corporate and government owned, must stop. And a lot of these farms have been taken over by government, and
Mhm.
they are mass operations now. It's not about the meat industry at all. Mass killing, breeding must stop now.
Yeah.
The farmers, this was interesting. The farmers are suffering because of what they're a part of. So the farmers are
Mhm.
suffering with their land because they're going against God's will by mass production and greed. Greed and gluttony is a sin. It is damaging to the souls of all involved.
Mhm.
How amazing is that? So he's telling us, he said, these mass farms have come about and that's all cause of greed and gluttony. He said, once upon a time, like go back to early century England or wherever, you had a farm, you had one or two or three cows, you had a sheep, maybe a horse, a goat. You didn't have thousands of cows and thousands of sheep, and you interbred them and mass bred them and then gave them hormones and shots and everything like that. Has got so dark and evil what they're putting into these animals. It is now time to stand up and stop the painful killing of the beings and to be free to be one with earth as it was meant to have been in the beginning.
Mm.
We're all sharing the planet, you know.
Yep.
The circle of the meat chain, the animals are fed human waste. The animal is fed to the human, and when the animal demand runs low, the human is fed its own. And that's what's been happening for a
Yep.
long time. And it's now being revealed and it's now coming out. Like they said, no graveyards are being built. I haven't seen a grave. I posted a thing about a guy talking about graveyards today, and he said that he hasn't seen any new graveyards since the 1980s. 90 million people since 1980s have died in the US. Where are the new graveyards? There are none. And that's not all cremation because there's not enough cremation places. You have to wait. If you have to wait a week for your ashes, that means they're overloaded. They're busy, cremation places. So where's the meat going? Think about it.
Yeah.
Ugh. I know. I am asking all light workers of the world now unite to make a stop to this way of life. I come to save the animals, and he's crying at this point. Poor Nolan. He had me crying when I was doing this. It was the controls that took over and continued the sin that I could not stop. And he felt like he failed us and the animals. And I said, you haven't. You saved them. You did actually save them. So remember that. I now save all. I now save all. I can't read my own writing. Lost and sick animals. I take them home to the love light of God's kingdom.
Mm.
So he's stepping in now and he's rescuing them big time, and he's asking us to give him the energy and strength to help him because it's a big task. So there he said a lot of people that are crossing now are going to be helping with the animal kingdom. To enter that kingdom, we must give up and create a new way of eating and creating education to the people, for the minds have been controlled too long. So we need people to come in and educate them as well. He said there's been no education around the meat. The only education around the meat so far is it gives you iron. Well, you can find iron in other food sources.
Yes.
Because I don't understand what else is in the meat that's actually any good for us. It sits in our gut and rots. So I kind of don't get why we've always been that way with meat. It makes no sense to me.
Protein, they also tell us it's full
Is
of.
it protein? Okay.
Mm.
You can get protein from so many beans and grains and nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he then says we must reverse what has happened to the animal kingdom and to our fellow beings, abuse in all forms of God's beings. It is now time to take back what was meant to be. We are here to live in peace, harmony, to respect every species and to love one another, not to kill and eat. Plants are the source of food. Water is the source of liquid for the body, he said. And if you go back to the time when they used to just eat plants, there's a plant on this planet for every illness element. We're going back that way. And there'll be new ones coming from Middle Earth, and all the ones that have been rescued, all the seeds and everything that have been saved for us for new. So think of all the beautiful new plant base that will be coming to help us eat a new way. Then he starts talking about the fish. And he said the deep ocean fish are only meat form to be eaten, and to understand they bring codes for the diamond crystalline body. I
Mm.
went, what? And because I eat fish still. I do still eat fish. Can't help myself. And he said that, you see Ishwa and everyone in the Bible, they all ate fish, but they didn't
Yeah.
eat meat. It was fish. And I said, what do you mean for the diamond crystalline body? And he said, most of the fish scales are a diamond under a microscope, not visible to the eye.
Wow.
So when you scale a fish, how it all falls off?
Yeah.
It's actually a diamond. And if you look at the reptiles too, they have diamonds in their coats.
Oh.
So it's built for the crystalline body, the fish. That's their purpose.
Oh.
So that's okay. But
Mm.
anything that lives on the shore or on the base of the sea that eats the waste, no, don't eat it because it's waste matter again in that circle.
Mm.
He said, I bring words to reverse and heal all that have been abused, killed, eaten, to bring back the codes of love for all beings, to understand togetherness. And he said, what we don't remember is what it was like to be in that energy of togetherness as one with one. And so he's saying what's coming is, and they talk about this in the Garden of Eden, and they talk about it in the other missing pages of the Bible, that we will walk amongst tigers, elephants, hippos, anything that is of big and beautiful, because we'll be togetherness, there'll be that honor, there'll be that respect. That is now coming back.
Yay.
And I can't wait. I can't wait to walk up and pet a tiger or a leopard or,
Play with baby elephants.
I know all the beautiful animals that we can't get close to, because the energy that's been on earth is they fear us and we fear them. And it's not meant to be that way. It should never have been that way. And I said to him, oh, what about the captured animals, behind cages and that? He said, that's all going. He said, they're going to be rescued. Because as the farms and the meat collapse, they can't be fed.
Right.
These places can't find meat source to feed them, like the lions, the tigers. So they're going to be rescued. In other words, they're going to dissolve these parks, animal wild parks, only the ones that need caring, rescuing, that kind of thing. And they will find other substitutes to feed them, because we will be asking to take that meat taste away. Today we ask, activation. Today we ask for forgiveness of what has been before us: killing, abuse, hunted, mass farming, and gluttony. It is time to return the togetherness of love, respect, and living together in harmony. May all animals of love, like God's creation, know they have and are loved for the highest form. So they know, even the ones that have been here must know that it wasn't us. We loved you. It was our ancestors. May all animals, beings that suffered from the dark hands, know we are here as speakers of the light, to apologize and take back what our ancestors and fellow beings have placed upon you to cause you to suffer. We are sorry, we are understanding, and we apologize for those that do not understand. And I could just see that scene from The Lion King when the baby's born and Simba, and they're all, trunks are going up and they're all in the circle of life and they're all celebrating. I can just hear them now going, finally, we get the apology, We ask today that it comes to an end and all are free, respected, loved, honoured, and free from today and always. I la we na tu tu la la, I we si so di da di tu tu. And he told me that was light language from different species because I haven't got those before. E la we na tu tu la la. E we see so so di ta di tu tu. I feel the tutus like the birds tweet 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 tweet. So he's bringing in that frequency of the animals for us. All animals, beings, and fellow godmen be free. No pain, no fear, no killing, and no eating. We ask that those that eat meat still wake to the new consciousness of what it is to be free and not controlled by dark programs, that they lose the want, need, and taste to set free all God's beings of love light from today and always. No more meat industry. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, God. I la lo ni na tutu we tatawa. We have just reversed it all.
Fantastic.
So the energy and the frequency with this activation we have to do, he said, for at least a month, will bring back into New Earth the frequency of freedom for all and no controls on what we've been programmed to believe. So the animals can now start to love us back as we love them back, and that they will be free in all these enclosures and zoos and circuses and everything where they abuse the animals will also be free, because it's not a natural habitat for them. They need to be out in their wild and eating the plant life. Why do you think they had giraffes with long necks? To get to the top of the trees to eat the new growth, the young sweet growth, not the old leaves and prongs from the bottom, but at the top. And he was showing me how the animals used to live and eat the berries and everything like that we know are good for us. So this is what we've got to go back to. And I said, well, how are we going to do this? He said, right, while we were on the ark sailing with the animals, he said something happened like we do here. We get time shifts and we get all sorts of things happening with jumping time. He said that happened to me. And so we've got to go back to, as the animals are going onto the ark, we're going to go back and view it and see how it was. And we're going to do the activation so that it reverses it all and it goes back to how it was meant to be. So by the time we come out of the meditation, it should have changed. It should have started to hit the energy in earth. And that's what we're doing. We're taking away a full meat industry, but in a good way, not in a fighting way. And he said that, the animals will start to respond now. They will show you signs. And I said, well, the birds are already showing me signs since I started working on this. And the birds always show us signs.
Question.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
I was doing research on the meat industry, and the biggest one is in Brazil. They have deforested the Amazon to put in these huge cattle ranches. And so we're not only helping the animals, we will be helping the Amazon and other forest areas. So, because once that industry is gone, they have no reason to tear down large patches of the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
And that's that mass that he was talking about, mass farming. And it's corporations. It's, we're going back to the original farmers in the early days and beginning of time in that, they usually only had one animal of each to provide for their own families, not for mass population. So how did it change so dramatically? That's what, when supermarkets and stores and everything came in, because the local farmer, we're going back to marketplaces where you bring your goods into town and everyone does an exchange, oh, look, I've got too much milk today and I've chewed too much butter. That's how they used to live, not for mass production. And as you say, now the land Well, we can see it in the mining too. It's all being destroyed,
Right.
especially the Amazon with all that beautiful wildlife down there. And
Yeah.
it's hidden away.
Okay. They did, I think it was 2 million acres.
Yeah.
Oh, that
It
hurts
is.
my heart. Oh,
It's just the beginning. That was just the beginning. So that's what's been happening with the Amazon.
really hurts my heart. Can't believe they're doing so much, like destroying the earth for greed and gluttony. And as
Always
God said, it's a sin.
mongrels.
Stop.
And they're feeding our
Right.
pets this stuff too. You know, our pets are getting fed it.
Mm.
Well, that was going to be my question. What do we do with our pets if they're meat eaters?
I've,
Yeah.
I've
What do
started
we feed them instead?
I've started replacing the kitten food with rice. I've started doing rice, and slowly I'll introduce other things because rice is still reasonably cheap and it's plant based. Um,
They can have fish.
they can have fish. They can have ocean fish.
Yeah, well, I feed my dog, tin sardines. But again, you look at the way they're caught. They're caught in massive nets. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
how
why
do we?
deep ocean fishing. You've got to go out and get it yourself. And this is what they used to do in the day of the tribes. You know, they had their own little calf wakas and canoes and other forms of transport to get out into they knew to go way out into the middle of the ocean, and they read by the stars and the planets and everything. They knew the correct time to get it, the right fish to get, that kind of thing. And if you go back and watch old history videos and things of the type of fish they were eating, it will show you what we should be eating, not some of the modern day stuff they're pushing on us, like the farming of the salmon and the parasites in it and all that. We shouldn't be eating any of that.
No. Some of the
So,
disciples were fishermen.
What's that, hum?
Some of the disciples were fishermen.
That's right, they were.
so what are we gonna do when there's too many animals because they're procreating too fast?
I think they're rushed. They will regulate themselves.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like new
Mm.
population will be less anyway. And there won't be the mass production like is happening now. You know, this is all done by design, like they have done with the migration. They mass produce certain animals and the other ones disappear. It's going to go back to how it should have always been.
And the other thing is, if they're changing over to become plant-based, that means that we have to start planting things for them to eat, right? Because until that happens, they're going to be eating everything inside.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Like hay, you know, horses normally only and cows and that they eat hay. They eat dry wheat. They eat dry
I'm
corn.
thinking about canine and feline with the tearing teeth.
Yeah.
They're meat eaters, and until that gets underway.
I think
Um,
all of them,
what about
yeah,
what are we going to do when they get so old, and what do we do?
a
We
lot of
just
them
bury them
rescue
back.
places. That's why we're getting all the rescue places cropping up now. People in the community are doing it, not SPCA, not all mass corporate. People
Mm.
like Teresa and the lady around the corner here, she does cat rescue, feline cat rescue, and she's self, you know, she's actually
Listen,
done it all on her own. She asked for donations of food and stuff like that. Actually, I've got some kitten biscuits together, but it's kind of like everyone's going to go out and do it on their own and help. And in places like you said, the big animals like the cats and everything, like in Africa and that, they will start to reverse back to what they know, and that's the natural plant base that's there for them. And it survived. It grew. It still grew. It still became growth. It didn't disappear like the Amazon. What worries me more than anything right now is how do we fix the Amazon? How many acres was it, Val?
I think they said 200 million.
They'll have to go back and plant the trees again.
Maybe that's what's going to have to be. Like you say, Angel, we're all going to have to be part of big planting groups. Well, there are groups here that plant now. They go around all the different suburbs and they have planting days.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's really, and that's all New Zealand natives and things like that. So, I think,
One more question.
yeah,
One more question. Okay, we were told that the cow's milk was for the babies. Are we going to be allowed to use that again? Are we going back to churning our own butter and, the milk and stuff? Are we still going to be able
no, I
or no?
channeled that a while ago, and cow's milk was not meant to be consumed by humans.
No, it's programming again.
Yeah,
Right.
the best milk for anybody is goat's milk. It's the closest to the.
But why do we need it? Once we wean our children off our own breast, why do we need to replace it with something else?
We don't. But if in the
Yeah.
meantime, bridging it, they're saying goat's milk. But we'll go back to nut milk. We'll go back to coconut milk. We'll go back to those milks. And that's the way we will feed the babies.
Well, my daughter's had to change my granddaughter over to goat's milk because she reacts to cow's milk straight up.
Yeah, Tamara's got well on goat's milk. She's only ever had it from the beginning. And it's the closest to human milk. But that will disappear too because we're not meant to be drinking animal milk. We're supposed to be drinking the milk that is in the plants. So you've got all your nuts that you can make, and you've got your coconut milk, and there'll be more to come because New Earth is still creating. That's how I see it, and that's how it's kind of been shown to me. How long that's going to take or whatever, I'm not sure. But again, it's all about that. He said we have to educate people. So the new system will have to educate the way that mothers think. If they can't breastfeed, what's the next best option? And this is the way we're meant to be going to help others. And so when we're healing people and we're working with people face to face, we have to sort of try and incorporate that into the healing session or the conversations we have because it's educating them.
But
Well, I
even
think
eating,
too, when our bodies change, as our bodies are changing into crystalline, our taste will also change. So we will probably drop a lot of the stuff that's not good for us.
Well,
yeah.
you take a look at this group, Val. Look how much we've changed our diets and the way we eat. We have really changed the way we eat and the way we see food. And, we're all healthy. We're all well aware of what we shouldn't be because naturally, as you said, as we form our crystalline bodies, our taste buds are changing as well. And the way we feel full, like you don't need as much because we were always told you should always be full. Well, you shouldn't be. That's gluttony.
Right. But our bodies also are changing, so they're not needing the heavier food. We need the lighter food.
I know. I can't eat heavy, stodgy food anymore. I agree.
We need to go back to more basic food. Like you look back what they were eating 100,000 years ago. Not even, well, that's probably a bit too far. But anyway, like it was just basic You know, it was just potatoes and
Apples,
whole foods. Now we
other
put so many
vegetables.
ingredients into just one dish. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they reckon if you couldn't walk a day to get the food that you're eating, well, then you don't you don't need it.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at even, you know, if you make a basic dish, you look up a recipe, and some recipes have got 20 ingredients in them. Well, who would ever have eaten like that 100 years ago?
Oh, exactly. It's unheard of, and that's where the recipe and the food industry has changed. So I made my own pesto last night. I cut a whole lot of basil and the basil mint, which is the combination of the mint plant and the basil. It's a beautiful plant. And it asked to put garlic in it. I thought, I can't have too much fresh garlic because it repeats on me now. And so I left the garlic out of it, but I put more lemon juice in it. And I didn't have any pine nuts. So I put cashew nut in it. And I tell you what, it was beautiful. And I just stirred it into my pasta. That's all I needed was sun-dried tomatoes. And that was my dinner. And I was full after that. So, our changing of diet, our changing of eating, everything's, when you think about it, everything we're going to start eating soon will come from our own gardens or our own planting troughs. If you haven't got a garden, you'll have troughs. And I see the council changing and offering us that, offering council troughs so you can do your own growing, because that's all that corruption's going to change. And they'll be.
Well,
Go ahead.
our council has changed here, so instead of giving us compost bins where they collect the organic waste, they're now giving us compost bins so that we can compost our own instead of it being taken away, so that we can put it back into our own gardens.
That's amazing that they've already started.
Mm.
Yeah, I was checking on the website today, and Alabama has homesteaders, but there's a gentleman who is looking to buy land to be able to allow families who don't have land to get a plot of land to grow their own vegetables and stuff.
Oh,
So
well,
like a big community garden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
They used to do
Yeah.
that in England. Remember, the whole street had their own garden plot.
Allotments.
Allotments, that's it. They used to do that. And they all go up to the allotment and plant up for the season, and they supply the food from the allotment. Yeah.
The local primary school here has a school garden where all the kids go out and they maintain that. And every now and again, once it gets into abundance, they'll put a notice out on the community page and say, hey, come and help yourselves because there's too much. And it's now for everybody.
We have that here where we crop swap and no money exchanges hands. You just swap.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And you can take anything. And I was reading the other day, and you save all your glass jars because people that do preserving need glass jars. So I've got a whole pile here to take along.
I've always saved all my glass jars.
Yeah.
It's funny, whenever anyone wants any, they know to come and
Go
ask
to
me.
Sharon.
No.
Page 110 and rainbow codes. Creating new earth. There's a new earth affirmation there, and Noah reminded me of it today, and he said you've got to say that, so I'm going to read it to you. So page 110, guys. Be guided by the highest form of consciousness. Create a new reality. So this is what we've got to do. Freedom, abundance, sovereignty, karmically corrected. Hello, I've been talking about it. We are now divine guidance. Our guidance was blocked. It is now unblocked. We now acknowledge our power. we have positive intentions of the highest light, love vibration. We manifest all that is required to be service to humanity in divine timing. We are connected to the universe in the highest dimensional level. We create a new world of freedom, love, and sovereignty. And that's what we're doing. We're creating this new world of freedom. We are loved and supported by pure light source. And how often do we feel that? How often do we get the beings come in, the ascended masters, the angels? We feel their presence. We know they are part of our work and our service. And I just love that. This morning I woke up and I really felt a special thank you for giving me this work, because it's not so much now, but it's in the future when people look back and think, that changed. And it was us, the speakers of light, as he called us. We are protected by only the highest light. Nothing, if we do not consent, can harm us. Think about that. So we have to be able to say to people, we do not consent. If you continue farming over there, we do not consent to that anymore. No. Mass farm. Get rid of it. The farmer has to learn to go back to basics as well. He's got to be re-educated. We only focus on gratitude and positivity. We see new earth and work amongst it in service. And I forgot about that affirmation, and I thought we should be saying this every day. So 110 in rainbow coats.
Is there something that we can do for addiction to help the addiction for the meat? Is there something we can do for the others when they come to us?
They have to be detoxed.
Is that detoxed?
Yeah, they have to be detoxed from it. They have to come off it. They have to change their diets. Exactly. Because the only reason they've got it now is because they haven't been educated not to eat it. If we teach them how to change their diets, like us, I don't even want the taste of meat near me.
I think it's also a consciousness.
It's a consciousness. It's what he said.
Yeah. I
Well,
don't
because I'm
think it's
thinking about what to tell my kids.
Yeah. And ask for them to receive the diamond crystalline body consciousness so that they will have it taken away from them. Because, again, it's up to us to do the work for them if they're not prepared to do it. It's interesting, more and more people are not eating the meat anyway, because the supermarkets are working behind the scenes and raising the prices. So it is slowly going out. We've just got to do the reverse damage and do damage control, because it's the industry itself. So there's so many areas of the industry that have been corrupt, and then they've done a doozy on the farmers. They really have. And then what they've done is made the farmers mass produce, and then they've come in and said, oh well, we're going to take your land from you now, you can't afford to run this anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they've done they've done a lot of stuff out there.
there's lots and lots of documentaries out there that show the meat industry and how
The Dominion.
how they treat these
Yes.
animals, and
I've seen a couple of them.
yeah, have your children watch those. If they can still eat meat after watching those, then there's something wrong with them.
The Dominion was traumatized and only got halfway, a quarter of the way through it.
Yeah.
It's just something else.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Well, I saw the other day a video on, I think it was on Instagram, and I think I put it in our space, but it was a cow in their last hours, and it was put into a frame, and the cow, it was a guy speaking over it, thinking what the cow would be thinking, and is this going to hurt? This is going to be painful. I'm scared. I'm in this brace. I'm about to be killed. Imagine what goes through that cow's mind.
Well, Exactly. And a lot of the documentaries I've seen, in the slaughterhouses, the slaughtermen are actually kicking them, they're smashing them with things and pieces, they're pushing them through the runs and the vents. They're like these animals, they're tortured. And you think, well, how different is that to the celebrities torturing children for the adrenochrome? Like, it's no different. The terror that must be going through the meat, like, it's all bruised, it's all battered,
When you eat that energy,
it,
The
it
fear.
is it is disgusting.
They kill mules and donkeys
Mm-hmm.
and they slaughter them alive for their skins.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
Because they
even
use the
Angora,
jelly for face cream.
yeah.
Ugh.
And the Dominion, the documentary I watched, the same thing with ducks. They're actually plucking the feathers out of the ducks whilst they're alive. The same with Angora rabbits and stuff like that. And they are shrieking because of the pain of it.
and
Oh,
same with the rabbits, they
it's
used to put
horrific.
cosmetics into their eyes to see if they'd get a reaction for us to wear mascara and things.
Mm,
They used to experiment on the rabbits
it
and
is
put it into
disgusting.
their eyes,
Absolutely disgusting.
all in the name of science, guys.